besties.
Hey.
Welcome to season 5, episode 2.
If you're new to the classroom or you're in upper key stage 2, for example, there's that thought of, oh, is it age appropriate? It absolutely is.
Realistically, if there's too much on there, nothing's being read. Whereas at least if you've got your 3 key things on there, the 3 key things are being read.
I think sometimes we think, oh, let's just print out everything. Like, I'm thinking, I can see the displays in my mind right now, and there's just so much on there.
You're connecting inside to outside and just creating a low stimulating environment, a place where children can just exhale.
Hi besties.
Hey.
Welcome to season 5, episode 2, and we're talking all things classroom design. And this episode, we are zoning in on sensory friendly classrooms. Let me tell you what this isn't by describing a classroom I decorated, let's emphasize that, in my 6th year of teaching. Sophie already knows this.
I love this story.
It is actually in my book if you've already read my book. I do like to share all of my sins. So my class was called Flamingos, and I was very excited. It was a mixed reception year 1. And I thought, do you know what? Borders are overdone. Let's do feather boas. And in my book corner, for children who couldn't yet read, I decided I would do a big quote that I hand painted in cursive, and it said, "In a flock of pigeons, be a flamingo." That meant nothing to anyone, like your pencil, perhaps. I did all the backgrounds pink, of course, and I thought I would hang washing lines so low that no one could ever walk anywhere or see anything. It was great. So that's not sensory friendly.
I love that.
Anyone else want to share some sins? We know about Tan's jellyfish, so that's fine.
I think Soph and I are both guilty of the over colourful backing, over colourful borders that are not coordinated, just to bring colour.
Yeah.
You know, that was my thinking. It was
Energy.
Let's and then in hindsight, it did bring energy, but in terms of overstimulation.
Absolute chaos.
It was the display's fault. Sometimes there are really upsetting combinations. Have you, like, I've seen some really upsetting ones, you know, and they're like, oh, that's all we have left. And you're like, well, I guess we're going to have them naked then, because it's like bright yellow and bright blue.
That's
awful.
That's what I had at a point. It was dark blue and yellow, and it just reminded me of Minions, and it was too much.
Oh, God. It is
too much.
upsetting. So if you like to talk about your important mantra.
So on the back of your wonderful flamingo vibe, I'm always less is more. I am a less is more girl.
Now you are.
Now I am. I know, it's just more, I always say this when we go on training and stuff like that. I always say to my EYFS staff, who does it serve and what is its purpose? Because if it's
the pencil,
why is it there, pencil? But if it's not serving the children and it's not helpful to you, then it's got to go. Bin it, aim it, it's got to go.
I think we need to tally how many times the pencil is so relevant to what we're talking about, because wow, it's deep, man. That pencil's deep.
This poor pencil.
Pencil's
This
getting
poor pencil.
cancelled, guys. What's going on today?
It's true though, because less is more, and I guarantee you, for early years, it's so important, because tidy up time, diabolical if everything is out and everything's everywhere. I always say less is more. Absolutely, got to.
We're with you, babe. Okay, we've got your back.
Feel it.
Tan, give us that snackable science.
So what's Tan going to speak about, I wonder? So approximately 1 in 5 children in our classrooms have an identified special educational need. What this means for us as educators is that we can now understand the behaviours presented, for example, or the needs of the students that are presented, and we need to ensure pupil progress, and the core of it is pupil belonging and how we can ensure safety for those children and belonging as well, as I said. So I know you've read this, I know you've seen this a million times, a million ways. If we get it right for our learners with special educational needs or disabilities, we're getting it right for everyone. So we need to get those basics right. But at the same time, we need to be kind to ourselves. We need to equip ourselves with the right knowledge and the right resources to be able to get it right. So those basics as well. So don't try and do everything all at once. Don't try and download all the checklists on every kind of need. Let's get those basics right first and get good at them.
Do you know what? I love what you said about being kind to yourself, because actually it is kind what we are actually talking about, because you're not adding more, you're taking away.
Yeah.
You're going, oh, do you know what? I don't need to go and print that. I don't need to go and make that. I don't need to add that. Let's take a step back. What do I really need? Just like you said, less is more, strip it back, make sure it's purposeful. So I love that.
Put that pencil away.
Exactly. Pencil. So I've got a design code. Is it an acrostic? I feel like it might be an acrostic.
That's the one.
So.
Yeah, love that. So it's access. All right. Oh, phonics. Oh, it just happened. Just creeped in. Add a visual. Yeah. Cut it out. Cut out what you don't need. Concrete tools. I've gone with it. Elicit vocabulary.
Ooh.
And is for sizing and spacing. Let's break it down. So, why do we need to add a visual? So, give us that early years wisdom.
Visuals for our early years learners are so important. They obviously come in, and reading is just not something they've fully grasped yet. And if we're going to be writing instructions, they're going to be like, Miss Grant, what is actually happening? They can't read it. What's actually happening? So visuals are so important. My children, if I do not put that timetable up, first thing they did, Miss Grant, it can't be home time. Where's the rest of it? Like, my bad, guys. I'll put it up. So first thing I do every time.
Get it together, Miss Grant.
Get yourself together, hun. It's not about the music. Sort that timetable out, babe. And then the visuals for how do we sit. And also, I feel like when we add those visuals, we're removing having the children having us speak to them all the time.
Yeah.
So rather than me telling them get into a comfortable sitting position, I just choose one, and they just do it immediately. So I don't have to talk all the time, because
And that concept, amazing from early years, but perfect for everyone. Like, I learned first from Tan that we read visuals 60,000 times faster than words. And I've never forgot it. I say it every single training. I'm like, let's not forget the statistics, people. But it's so true, because I always think about, like, when you go to an airport and you're on holiday and you're looking for the toilet sign. Yeah, you're not looking for sortie.
That was us in the Netherlands.
French, you know, I'm fluent. You're
So
looking for
fluent.
the arrow, right? So it's so important.
My French today.
I know,
Can
I'm
I
so
just
French.
nip something in the bud about visuals as well? And I
Yeah.
think visuals don't replace reading. Like, there's a time for reading and learning how to read and to write, etc. It's about that cue. It's that prompt for transition. It's that prompt for expectations as well. So I know sometimes if you're new to the classroom or you're in upper key stage 2, for example, there's that thought of, oh, is it age appropriate? It absolutely is, because
Yes.
we're all reliant on visuals.
Yeah.
So be that advocate. If you are that advocate in your school regarding visuals, keep going, keep waving the flag.
It's reducing that cognitive overload as well.
I love to hear it.
Love it.
It's the different, I feel like when you're thinking about your older pupils and adults, it's about processing time. When you're thinking about your younger pupils, it's about, can they actually access? Did I tell you girls when I had that flamingo class?
What reading? No, tell us again.
But when I did my first day with them, bless myself, I was using a PowerPoint because I hadn't found Canva yet, and I was using the animations. Of course, is there any other way to do it? And they had all these questions like, what animal would you be, and all these things. And at the end of my session, that I thought went fantastic, I said, "Has anyone got any questions?" And one girl said, "Yeah, what's that stuff those squiggles that keep popping up on the screen?" I was like, oh, nothing. It's irrelevant. But like, literally, I didn't have any visuals. I just had these questions popping up and they couldn't read it. So it's the difference between accessibility for our youngers, but processing time and comprehension for our olders. Okay, cutting out what you don't need.
Less is more, Huns. I'm saying it again.
Less is more. I mean, I think sometimes we think, oh, let's just print out everything. Like, I'm thinking, I can see the displays in my mind right now, and there's just so much on there. But it really is thinking about what's purposeful, what's intentional. Can they read it from their tables or as they're walking in. Do we need it on there?
Realistically, if there's too much on there, nothing's being read.
Yes.
Yeah.
Whereas at least if you've got your 3 key things on there,
Absolutely.
the 3 key things are being read or visualized, it's in there.
And I think when you're, a key indicator for me is if you're teaching and you can go and refer to it, like, oh, remember our words,
Yeah.
or remember what we did last lesson. If you can do that as being at the front of the class and then moving and making something more accessible and supporting children's comprehension by pointing to it, you got yourself a winner, my friends. If you're like, yeah, it's on there somewhere, I think it's the seventh line down, keep looking, then that's not working.
I think as well, if you want to do your own little research in your own classrooms about the impact of what we're saying today, get your pupil voice, ask your children, do you remember why we put that up there? What's that for? And I think for me, I go into classrooms all the time and I ask children that. I say, oh, look, I can see something there. What's that? What's that? And they're like, oh, I don't really know. But it's a really good visual on what not to do when you're doing your writing and the words that are banned, for example, in year 6. But actually, if the children don't know, it's wallpaper. So I think definitely if you want to do your own research and the impact of this, ask your pupils. And I think your example there about the squiggly lines, that's your pupils saying, I'm not too sure why that's there, Miss
It's saying,
Foster.
what's going on?
babe. Do you know what? That's so true, because I feel like that always used to happen to me, that light bulb moment after an observation.
Oh,
Because you're like, what did they say to you? What did she say? They're like, oh, they're just asking about the display. Oh, no.
Was it part of the plan?
Exactly. So that was just cracking me up. I love that Tan's that person. That's hilarious.
All about the pupil voice, me.
And now the great one is concrete tools. And I've learned so much from you, Tan, about this. So mic to you.
Thank you, thank you. So I'm all about the multisensory because it's research backed, because our learners who are struggling to acquire that key knowledge in the classrooms, it's just shown that once you bring those concrete objects, the real life of that, they're going to remember that. It's going to support their memory. It's going to give meaning to the context that you are looking at in your classroom. I'm talking maths, I'm talking literacy, science, geography, etc. So have those concrete resources, and it doesn't have to be anything that you need to buy. It's on, I promise you, it's in a tray somewhere, it's in your classroom, the corridor, the caretaker's probably got something somewhere. Be creative and think outside of the box about how you can take a piece of a word and then find a concrete resource for that.
Yeah.
Try it out and start with 3 items and then move it up if you like.
And you can have it on a table, or you can have it on in a sandwich bag.
Yeah.
I love doing this. On the display that they can see, and then you can bring it down
Yeah.
for the lesson and pass it around and just make it real, rather
Yeah.
than no one touches that.
Yeah.
That's just for looking.
And I think a lot of the work we're doing at the moment is around some schemes of work have hooks at the start of a scheme, for example. And I always say, why don't those hooks come every lesson? And it doesn't need to be jazzy. And someone actually said to me, oh, Tan, like, I'm not sure how realistic that is. And I was like, because you're setting it way too high. Bring it down. What does a hook mean? It means something to hook onto their memory. It's something to build that emotional kind of connection to it for them to be able to apply it.
Yeah.
It's not for a bit of fun. It's way more than that. It's engagement to support memory.
It's building that schema around it as well, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Of, oh yes, I know that. I've seen that. Otherwise, we're not giving everyone a fair chance, because some child might have been abroad and seen it or gone to a museum. We want to ensure everyone has those physical experiences.
And again, when it comes to vocabulary, to
Yeah.
prove a point, again, for yourself in your classrooms, for your own research, bring something in and ask students what they think it is. Get them to write on a whiteboard. And what you will notice is not all students will know the name of that item.
Yeah.
And that, again, will bring it back to basics for you to say, actually, when I'm reading through this paragraph, not everyone's going to be able to, or when I'm looking at my display board, it may be that they didn't quite access that vocabulary as well.
Which links beautifully to illicit vocabulary. And do you know what? I've got that book in my head, and it's hilarious because I keep saying the wrong name, and I just have to say what it is. So you know, like the word gap and the writing gap. But in my head, because of the front cover, in my head I'm just going, mind the gap. And I was going to say, you know, the book Mind the Gap.
I do that.
But they are really, really good books, and it's all about the importance of vocabulary. We know this is essential for children's learning and how they're accessing the curriculum. And when we're thinking about our displays, this is such a great opportunity. Again, don't put an A4 sheet up there with like 30 words. We need to bring that to life. Again, is it something that you would come back to and say, oh, do you remember this word? Are there photos? Are there tangible examples of it? Are we using synonyms? Are children being able to look at it and then use it in their writing or within their partner talk? Are we bringing it to life, basically?
We've testing out a way with a few teachers around how we can make it not wallpaper, because we walk into classrooms and there's beautiful handwritten, you've done it with your classroom, there's handwritten examples of keywords to use and it's on the display. But then, as I mentioned, it may be that once you ask that student 2 weeks later, they're like, yeah, I don't really know what that word means, exquisite. So that could happen. But we've been trialing different ways to use this. So what you can do is pick it up from the display, pop it up in all parts of your classroom, hide them where you need to, and then students go and find the word that matches a definition, for example. So you're using different approaches to assess their learning, but you're also using your displays actively as well.
Yeah.
So get those core basics right.
And I think also we need to be mirroring our environment to our curriculum. So
Yes.
I know you're such an advocate for this, but having your vocab within your lesson, teaching it, but in a way that's interactive, where we're getting children moving, and that needs to mirror our displays so that it's all making sense and we are amplifying that understanding. We can't have one or the other.
Absolutely.
It's not going to support children. And the last is sizing and spacing. And do you know what? This is such a basic thing, but when you reflect on it, it has such a big impact. If you're printing off resources that are quite closely spaced in lines or small, if you're like, oh, I really want to get this on 1A4, let's just take it down to 10. Calibri.
We're on a budget.
Exactly. I really don't have time for the photocopier today. Yeah. And if you're just making it smaller or if the spacing is too small, ultimately it's going to be overcrowded, can't read it, and we're not supporting accessibility.
I hear what you're saying, that it's basic, but actually we all know.
I knew Tam's like, no, Jen, you ain't basic, girl. I see her face.
It's basic in terms of how easy it is to highlight and then insert line spacing, right? But we all know in this room, and I know the listeners know this, it's really hard starting something and continuing with it because of the load in the classroom, because of the amount we need to think about, do, and the needs we need to meet. So it is basic, we promise. It is research backed, we promise, but we also understand it's hard. So have a go. And if the research is still out there and it's still backed, apparently it takes 66 days to build a new habit.
No,
who knows?
It's not true.
It's not true anymore. God, cut. But yeah.
That I always talk about this in training as well, because I love the number, right? So there was that 21 days to build a habit.
Yeah.
All of the journals. And then James Clear in Atomic Habits said 66.
Right.
But it is like, there was like some studies on average, but it depends on the demographic of your class,
course,
how
the
often you're teaching it, the context of it.
Yeah.
So whenever I'm doing training, I'm like, forget it. Because actually there's a cycle, it's a business model, and it talks about routines in a 3-stage approach. It's like the honeymoon period, when you first start a routine, and you're like, we're doing really well with this.
Tan starts couch to 5K and leaves.
The first bit, you're like, this is fine. Yeah. Then there's the push through, where you're like, I can't do this anymore. And I always say to people in training, it's like the second rep when I used to go gym, RIP. And you're like, oh my God, I've already done one. I've got one more to go and I can't do this. But then once you push through that, then you get to the clockwork stage. But I always say in training, we don't leave it there, because children have holidays. We have random assemblies happening, and then that takes us back to push through. Yeah. So it's I think it's about having an understanding around that, and with classrooms
for ourselves as well.
Yeah, it's about knowing, do you know what? That's okay, and I'm going to be ready for it, and I've got the tools.
Yeah.
Because often, otherwise, I know I used to think, and I know lots of teachers do, they should know it by now. And then you're like, what's wrong with me? So it's just knowing that it's normal.
Yeah, so I think when it comes to sizing and spacing and things like that, don't feel that it's only for certain students that need it. Just make it a part of your practice and it will get easier.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's talk about colours. because everyone always wants to know about colours. Like, what colours should I use? And for Soph and Evie back in the day, it was like rainbow. So I thought we'd do a little game.
Those
So
primary colours, girl.
let's bring them in. I'm going to give you a colour, and I just want you to tell me, like, your instinct of how it makes you feel. Yeah, that's basically it. I was like, am I going to expand? No, I'm not.
Gosh, now I'm nervous.
And there's no wrong answers.
Forgotten all colours.
Okay?
Forgotten all feelings.
Just don't get it wrong. Okay, blue.
Calm.
That's your favourite colour.
Ocean.
Ocean.
Sadness.
I love Dan's like, I'm going to say something controversial. Green.
Grass.
Grass. I love that. You say it
That's
with
okay.
conviction even.
Grass.
I don't want to say it. Yeah, I love that.
Grounded.
Balance.
Love that. And I actually forgot to actually tell you the colour theory of it. So blue is, I was like, I'm so into this game. Blue is calm, clarity, focus, trust. And it actually activates the parasympathetic nervous system, which is our rest and digest. So quick whistle stop. When you have a stress response, it's your sympathetic nervous system. And I always go back to Kate Silverton's analogy for this because I find it really helpful. She talks about the fact that for some reason, you have no idea why, but you've been shoved into an aeroplane and you've been told you're going skydiving. And she uses the S for sympathetic nervous system. So I always think about that plane. And in that moment, what's happening? You're not thinking about your dinner, are you? Your body is getting ready to prepare you for what's about to happen. And then for parasympathetic, she talks about a parachute. And it's basically coming down and your body then starting to feel safe and calm down. So that's what we mean by activating the parasympathetic nervous system, which is a very valuable thing in the classroom. I think we can agree.
Indeed.
And green was balance. Oh, and we've got grass. Oh no, I actually loved grass. I just thought that was great.
Grass is grass.
And it is safety, restoration, well-being. And it actually reduces cortisol levels and promotes the vagal tone, which is again to do with a parasympathetic nervous system. Okay, let's go on to my favourite colour, lilac.
Jen.
Evie, if I haven't told you already, you're smashing this game.
That one was said with confidence.
Smarties. What's you going to say next? So,
I was going to say sweet, like a, yeah.
love
sweet.
that.
Oh, lilac. God, it's really hard not to say Jen.
Gosh. I'll tell you. So lilac is actually calm, reflection, emotional warmth.
Yeah.
Just radiating over there.
And it supports emotional regulation and offers low arousal, calm, and combines safety and empathy.
So you regulate us, Jen.
Don't I just? Okay, peach and soft orange.
Or warmth for me.
Yeah.
Warmth.
Love
yeah.
that. So
Cozy.
I feel like you're in your element with this game.
Oh, yeah. Give me more colours.
This one's hard.
You're not sure?
Sunsets?
Sunset,
Ooh.
yeah. You know what? I'm sorry. You be conviction. Say with conviction, Evie. I love it. Fruity. So sociability, gentle energy, and approachability. And it's about stimulating social engagement without spiking adrenaline. That one's quite interesting, isn't it?
That's really
Very.
interesting.
So we could have got in the good old days our energy without the if we'd have just used
Without
peach.
that sound. Exactly. Where is all the peach
Where's the peach?
backing?
Gosh, flamingos were in that smile.
Oh, no. And what about yellow?
Sunshine.
Yeah, definitely. Happiness. Yeah.
Bright.
Optimism, brightness, curiosity, and it can uplift mood but may overstimulate the visual system. So
It
when
is
we're
quite a cheerful colour, isn't it?
Yeah, so when you're thinking about these colours, the reason why I think it's so great to fall back on colour theory is it helps you understand how to use colours purposefully in your classroom. Because you're like, yeah, I like yellow, but maybe I'm not going to use it on every wall. Maybe I'm going to use it in like a group area where I'm going to do my group interventions and things like that. So it's having that intentional use of colour. And of course, let's not forget red. Oh, we should have done a sound for each colour. That would have been so fun.
Oh,
Okay, so Soph's done the sound.
it's bold.
Bold.
Danger.
Oh, and an exhale as well. So it's urgency, arousal, and stress if overused. Triggers sympathetic activation, so your stress response. So again, really want to think about how we're going to use red in the classroom. Not going to have a red walls, are we, friends?
Emergency.
Do you know what? They didn't include this, but natural colours. I added this separately.
Just calm.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with grounding again.
Yeah,
Definitely.
love that.
Yeah, up the same.
And
Okay,
what we
that.
know about natural colours and why there was such a shift in natural colours is because it does activate the nervous system, the parasympathetic nervous system. So it's, there's method to the madness. And I think it's really important to be thinking about that research rather than, and that's what we're thinking about with Classroom by Design. We're thinking, why are we using that colour? What is the purpose for it? So we have 4 themes in our TGMC
I'm so excited.
Classroom by Design kits this year, which is really, really exciting. And I wanted to share them, and then we're going to unpick that. I haven't just picked them out for lulz and fun.
No flamingos, guys.
No, there's no. So we've got flamingos. We've got feathers. They all have a purpose. So we have got mindful woodland, garden zen, ocean calm, and lilac dreams. So let's go into why we have got those. So,
Oh, well, like you said before, like for example with the woodland theme, it's really pulling on that nature and that natural aesthetic, and it's quite a vibe that it's just so grounding. Like I said before, it provides the warmth, but it's also grounding. You're connecting inside to outside and just creating a low stimulating environment, but actually a place where children can just exhale, rather than inhale.
yeah, absolutely. And we know the impact of having those backdrops, of having those forest
Yes.
backdrops, of when you take children outdoors. Exactly what you said. It's like, how can we bring that inside? I love that. So Lilac Dreams is all about those soft tones and reducing overstimulation and helping with focus and emotional regulation. Evie, you've got one of my favourite words ever.
Oh, yes. Biophilic.
Right.
Patterns in nature. And I think it came up when we all said about the natural colours. We were like calm and grounding, and that's what it really does, is it increases well-being and that feeling of greatness. But yeah, lots of natural patterns and bits in the design as well.
Cozy.
There was
Yeah.
actually a study about having plants in the classrooms. Did you
I've
guys
got
see that?
loads.
Yeah, having plants in the classrooms increases sense of well-being.
Yes.
So it's
they're alive.
fantastic.
I do have a list of child-friendly ones if anybody's after those.
Okay, well, we'll put that in the notes.
I've got plastic for the time being in case of risk, but
Yeah.
love that.
And Tan, thinking about why themes in general are quite nice to have for your classroom.
Definitely what I'm hearing and seeing in terms of themes, it's around having that sense of belonging. And I think we said this in the first episode about knowing what we're coming to, knowing what we're entering into. So that feeling of safety. And humans are hardwired for social identity and being part of those groups as well. So by creating these packages, it's really useful for learners who may be emotionally feeling like they can't come to school, or they're finding it hard to come to school due to different anxieties. So that's a factor that may be supportive as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know we said this in routines as well, but it's the difference between saying these kids over here and saying badgers, off you go. It just makes such a difference. And I'm sure you see that as well in training, Tan. If you know someone's name, it makes such a difference. Like there's been times when I haven't known people's names. I've said, and you guys over there? And then I actually have to stop and say, I'm sorry, that was really awkward. Like, that's not nice to be not be referred to properly, is it? What's everyone's names? And it makes such a difference. You find that in training.
Absolutely. And it's about that core of it, building relationships at the core of it, whether you're training, whether you're talking to professionals, the core of it is to build a relationship, and then we can build on to emotions as well. So I think absolutely having those groups and ways to talk about each other is really nice as well.
Lovely. All right. So let's finish off with our hinder and help. So how is it going to hinder if you don't have these classroom themes? It's going to reduce belonging and overstimulation.
Colourful chaos.
Colourful chaos.
Oh.
And for help, we thought it would be nice to nod to our friend Adrian Bethune, which we have figured out was season 2,
Mm-hmm.
and he talked about building your class tribe
Yeah.
and how that is so important for well-being. And
Such a
that's what we can
powerful
do
episode.
with these
Yeah.
amazing Classroom by Designs kits,
So
which you can get in www.tgmc.uk.
G.
M.
See you next time.
Bye, guys.